Charlie Kirk and a whole constellation of bro podcasters are out there trying to reach these young men, people like Joe Rogan, Theo Vaughn, Tim Dillon. And young men have turned out to be a potent political force at times. The young men helped propel Trump back into office. 56% of men under 30 voted for Trump. Is it because they thought Trump would make things better for them? Because then we see the New York City mayoral election and young men turned out in force for a Democratic socialist named Zoran Mamdani.
So I believe that the problem of young men, and granted, I'm a hammer, so everything I see is a nail, but I think struggling young men is the reason that we elected Trump. And if you look at the groups that pivoted hardest from blue to red, 2020 to 2024, first was Latinos. I don't think we can take a lot from that because it's even weird we categorize it as one community because there's so much disparity of people within that community. The second group was young people. And when you're under the age of 30 and you're not doing well, you just want change. But the most interesting group is the third hardest pivot was from women age 45 to 64. And my thesis, Elizabeth, is that's their mothers. Because in the United States,
there's still young men.
In the United States, there's a disproportionate amount of women who will still vote for who they perceive is in the best interest of their husbands and their sons. And if your son is in the basement playing video games and vaping, you don't care about territorial sovereignty in Ukraine or transgender rights. So Mamdani was elected for the same reason Trump was. And that is if you're not doing well, you just want change. Mm-hmm. And Biden and Cuomo both represented the status quo. So they're willing to vote for a chaos candidate, insurrection or not, I don't care. But also Trump, to his credit, flew right into the manosphere. And by going on Rogan, 55 million views. Harris, to match that exposure, would have had to have gone on CNN, MSNBC, and Fox every night for 3 hours for 2 weeks. If she had taken the bus to Austin, it would have been worth her time.
Yeah. We're seeing, finally, a lot of cracks right now in both parties. There's a divide in the Democratic Party between the progressives like Mamdani and moderates like the newly elected governors of Virginia and New Jersey. But we're also seeing some cracks in Trump's big MAGA coalition, this epic fallout that's happening right now between President Trump and Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is ordinarily one of his most ardent and enthusiastic supporters. What do you think is happening? Is there some conclusion, or is it just this is what happens? You know, people who are together for 1 year and one election end up falling apart.
I do think that Marjorie Taylor Greene is a bit of a canary in the coal mine, or a canard of what is. I was shocked to see her come out as aggressively. And I think she's done some polling.
On two things, the economy and Epstein. She's the one who was saying at the very beginning, these health care insurance premiums are dangerous, and this is going to hurt a lot of Republicans in the country. We need to do something.
Yeah, and I didn't think the Democrats should have caved on the shutdown, but they have a solid argument, and that is they picked an issue that actually will impact Republicans more. And they've really highlighted the fact that, about 14 million Americans are about to lose their health insurance, and millions are going to see their rates skyrocket. I think if you look at a survey of the happiest nations in the world, 6 of 10 are in Northern Europe. And happiness, we tend to believe in America, it's about what you can get. Happiness also, though, is about a fear from anxiety about things being taken away from you. And essentially in Denmark, if your wife is diagnosed with lung cancer, it doesn't mean you're going bankrupt. Whereas in the US, there's a 1 in 3 chance that that'll happen when your wife is diagnosed with terminal lung cancer. 40% of American households have medical debt. Just the amount of anxiety people are feeling and the shame. You know, you imagine you got a 17-year-old daughter and you have to borrow money for her to fix her root canal. I mean, this is just the anxiety I think Americans are feeling economically is pretty severe, and the Democrats focused on that. And also the Epstein files, there's just no getting around it. The president, he looks, I jokingly say my 5-year-old once drew on the wall, and the moment he realized he spelled out his own name, he knew he just looked very guilty. I feel like Trump could not be acting more guilty because people have forgiven him for a lot. And so he's acting like there's something really, really ugly in here. And I think for the first time, Republicans are seeing political advantage in taking him on, whereas before, it was radioactive to get anywhere near the third rail of challenging the president. It feels like his grip on power is beginning to slip.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.